The Art of Thinking Clearly. Hi, warmest greetings to everyone. Welcome back to Podcast First Students, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge for comprehensive personal development through excellent and beneficial books. Today, we'll unlock an extremely important book together, a book that I believe is the armor that protects our thinking. The Art of Thinking Clearly by author Rolf Dobelli. The Deadly Trap. We are poor at logic. This may sound shocking, but it's the truth. Dear viewers, in our daily lives, we constantly make decisions, from which shirt to buy to where to invest. And we think we're using logic. But in reality, our brilliant brains are riddled with shortcuts, blind spots, and classic deceptions that Dobelli calls 99 thinking errors, cognitive biases. The trap here is, we have no idea we're being deceived. The solution, a handbook for identifying traps. This book doesn't teach us to become geniuses. It does something extremely interesting and more practical. It provides us with a toolkit, a detailed handbook to identify and avoid those 99 traps. This isn't a purely theoretical book, but rather a minefield map to help us navigate more safely in this world full of information and decisions. Principle 1. The selfish information filter. The first thinking error I want to discuss is confirmation bias. Metaphor. Imagine your brain is the CEO of a company, and it only wants to hear reports that confirm what it already believes. If you believe the Earth is flat, the CEO will only hire employees who bring back reports about a flat Earth. Or, for example, on social media. This is where confirmation bias explodes most powerfully. We only follow and share sources of information, people who have the same political and social views as us. When information appears, if it matches our existing beliefs, we believe it immediately. If it contradicts them, we automatically label it as fake news or deception. This is extremely deadly because it makes us blind to the truth. Dobelli's solution. To avoid this trap, try to prove yourself wrong. Falsification, instead of proving yourself right. Learn to love being challenged. Principle 2. The anchoring effect. After talking about how we only like to hear what we want, I'll now discuss how we're deceived by numbers. This is an error that retailers love to use. Metaphor. Imagine an anchor is a massive heavy object dropped to the ocean floor. It fixes the ship, our thinking, in one position, no matter where the current, new information flows. That anchor is the first number we see. It anchors our judgment, even when it's completely absurd and unrelated to the real value. Example 1. The discounted watch. Suppose you walk into a store and see a watch. The tag reads, original price 15 million Vietnamese dongs, crossed out, and next to it sale price 5 million Vietnamese dongs. The number 15 million is an extremely effective anchor. It establishes a sky-high reference price, although the watch's true value might only be 3 million. Because it's so far from the 15 million anchor, we feel 5 million is a steal and decide to buy it hastily. Example 2. Salary negotiation. This is a deadly application of the anchoring effect. In an interview, whoever first states a salary figure, for example, the candidate proposes 20 million, makes that number the anchor for the entire negotiation. If you propose too high, the negotiation will revolve around pulling it down. If you propose too low, you anchor yourself at an undeserved salary level. Dobelli's solution. Don't let someone else's anchor determine your value. Before entering any negotiation or purchase, independently research and determine a reasonable value range in your mind. Create your own anchor and drop it first. This will help us avoid classic deceptions and make decisions based on real value rather than the first emotional number. Principle 3. The storyteller's illusion. Our brains love stories more than raw data. If information isn't told in the form of a story, we struggle to remember and believe it. Metaphor. Our brain is a talented Hollywood screenwriter. It can't tolerate the chaos and randomness of life. Whenever something happens, success or failure, this screenwriter immediately gets to work connecting random events into a script with a beginning, end, and clear cause and effect. Deadly example. When a CEO succeeds, we immediately write their story. He worked 18 hours a day. He had vision. He never gave up. But we forget thousands of others who also worked 18 hours a day, also had vision, but failed due to luck or the randomness of the market. The trap. Believing these perfect stories causes us to overestimate connection and underestimate the role of randomness. We create the illusion that everything can be explained after it's happened, Hindsight bias. Dobelli says, the truth is often much more boring. Sometimes, things are just random. Solution. When hearing a success story, ask yourself, what are the random factors? What are the pieces that were left out? Develop the habit of accepting uncertainty and chaos in life. Principle 4. The sunk cost fallacy. This is an extremely common thinking error because it strikes at the regret emotion in humans. Metaphor. Imagine you've dug a very deep hole to find treasure. You've spent tons of sweat, money, and time. This is the sunk cost, digging to a depth of 10 meters. But all the geologists say the treasure is absolutely not here. The thinking error is, you keep digging deeper, though hopeless, just because you regret what you've already invested, instead of accepting to move on to dig at another location with more potential. Example 1. A failed business project. A project has consumed billions of dong and 5 years of your life. Although the market has changed and the project is no longer viable, you still agree to pour in more money because we've gone too far to stop. This is an extremely emotional and illogical decision. Example 2. Personal relationships. You've been with someone for 10 years, but the relationship is no longer happy and is destroying you. You still don't dare to end it because I've already lost 10 years of my life. Dobelli reminds us, sunk costs are costs that are lost and cannot be recovered. They should have no influence on your future decisions. Dobelli's solution. When facing the decision to continue or stop, ask yourself, if I had never invested a penny into this, would I start it now? If the answer is no, accept that giving up is the most courageous and logical action. Principle 5. Scarcity bias. This is a thinking error that marketers absolutely love. The trap. The value of something suddenly increases just because it's scarce or hard to obtain. We're driven by fear of missing out, FOMO, rather than by the item's real value. Metaphor. Imagine you're in a room. If there are 10 open doors, you'll walk through normally. But if 9 doors slam shut and only 1 door is about to close, you'll rush into it at any cost, even though you have no idea where that door leads. We value the closing door more than the content behind it. Real-life example. Sales campaigns like, only 3 final scholarships left. This course will close registration in 24 hours. These messages don't talk about the course quality. They just activate the fear of missing out in us. When this emotion rises, clear thinking disappears. Dobelli's solution. When facing limited or almost sold out offers, take a deep breath and ask yourself, where is its value? If there were 1 million of these, would I want to buy it? Make decisions based on intrinsic value, not artificial scarcity. Principle 6. Action bias. This is a thinking error that occurs when we feel pressured to do something, even when doing nothing is the best choice. The trap. When facing uncertain situations, especially when there's a risk of being blamed, we tend to act to feel better psychologically, that we tried, even if that action could be harmful. Metaphor. A goalkeeper in a penalty shootout. Statistics clearly show that the ball is kicked to the center of the goal more often than to one side. However, goalkeepers always have to jump left or right, about 94% of kicks, because if they stand still in the middle and let the ball in, they'll be criticized for doing nothing. Jumping incorrectly is still better than being seen as passive. Real-life example. In medicine, sometimes doctors perform unnecessary tests or procedures just to reassure patients or to avoid lawsuits for not trying hard enough. Similarly, in business, when a company faces a crisis, managers often rush to make major restructuring decisions instead of patiently analyzing and waiting for complete information. They need to show they're controlling the situation. Dobelli's critical advice. Learn to appreciate silence and waiting. In many cases, patience in not acting hastily is an extremely wise decision that requires great confidence. Remember that not acting is also a choice that needs to be considered logically. True maturity. Dear friends, after going through 99 thinking errors, we realize this. The brain is an extraordinary machine, but it's not perfect. Reading this book doesn't help us eliminate all thinking errors, because they're already deeply embedded in our biology. The greatest philosophical lesson that Dobelli brings is, true maturity is not becoming perfect, but recognizing your own imperfection. When you know about confirmation bias, you'll be more careful when reading news. When you understand sunk costs, you'll dare to abandon an expensive relationship or project. This book is a reminder that clear thinking is not a state, It's a process of continuous vigilance. Knowing that our very existence is already a legend of mistakes, and accepting that, is the key to making wiser decisions. I hope that today's summaries of thinking traps will be critical knowledge helping you have a different perspective on your decisions. Remember that the art of thinking clearly is the sunglasses that help you see more clearly through the blinding sun of misconceptions out there. If you find this video helpful and want to explore many more extremely interesting books with me, don't hesitate to hit like so I know. Share it with friends, those who also want to sharpen their thinking. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any episode in this self-improvement program. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.